it never gets easier having to open a video like this. This is the first time I think I've had to do it on my own. But unfortunately, just a couple weeks after we had the tragic passing of Brickhouse Brown, Nikolai Volkov, and Brian Christopher, unfortunately, we got the news Monday that early Monday morning, Jim the Anvil Neidhart passed away at the age of 63. A very unfortunate situation. He'd been dealing with some medical issues recently that kind of led to a tragic accident that took his life. I mean, Jim is well known as one half of one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Hart Foundation, him and Bret Hart. Two-time WWE Tag Team Champions together, WWF, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he was really good at what he did. A great base in a team of two great technicians. He was the powerhouse. Was able to work opponents down, allowing for Bret to lock in that sharpshooter and pick up the win. Charismatic. I mean, he's well known and well respected in the world of wrestling. A lot of people, people like the Revival, they look at teams like the Hart Foundation, and that's where they get their inspiration to be what they are. And it's just, 63. Just an unfortunate accident took him far too early, and it never gets easier to say that, and it's never easy to say goodbye. But when it's something that you feel like it could have been avoided somehow, makes it all the more tragic. So my heart, my thoughts goes out to the Hart/Neidhart family. There's been a great outpouring of love to Natty and to the rest of the Hart family. Bret Hart posting about it, the Iron Sheik posting about it, Natty obviously, a lot of people around the wrestling community all pouring out their love for Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And in true Wrestling Rundown fashion, we wish that Jim the Anvil Neidhart rest in power. Our first of 3 go-home shows is in the bag. Monday Night Raw has officially closed its doors and is on its way to Brooklyn for SummerSlam this Sunday. Welcome to the Raw Review. I am Travis Colt, talking about what happened on Raw going in to SummerSlam. We open up with Ronda Rousey pouring a little bit of her heart out for Natty and Jim, and giving a great kind of homage to the family, really talking about how Natty was the first person in WWE to really accept her in the company, putting her over and everything. And then transitions into talking about beating Alexa Bliss on Sunday, and brings out Ember Moon, because our first match of the night is Ember Moon versus Alexa Bliss. Alexa using a little bit of champion sway, I guess, making friends with Constable Corbin. Corbin actually allowing her to hire security for just massive dudes who Ronda Rousey took out 3 of them. The 4th one was just like, nope, I'm out. And then took out Foxy, and then took out Alexa, and then we finally got into the match with Alexa and Ember Moon. Ember Moon picking up the win by disqualification. She hit the Eclipse on Alexa, but as she was going for the pin, Foxy came in, kind of broke it up. Wasn't the best, but Ronda ended up stopping a 2-on-1 beatdown, and we're full steam ahead for our Women's Championship this Sunday. We then had Kurt Angle and Baron Corbin complaining about the matches that Corbin had set up for him and Finn Balor, which we'll get to that in just a second. But we also had Dolph Ziggler, who was a little worried because he hadn't seen Seth Rollins, and they were supposed to have the contract signing for the Intercontinental title match. So he decides, okay, well, we'll give it a little bit more time. If Rollins doesn't show up, then we'll see what happens. And then he also kind of takes the contract a few times later through the night and notices there's a clause that Seth has to or is allowed to have someone in his corner, and Kurt's like, well, you have Drew, so why wouldn't he? And so Dolph kind of goes through, just making sure that the contract is up to snuff, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But as I was saying, Baron Corbin set matches for him and Finn Balor. Baron Corbin set himself up with a match against Tyler Breeze. Tyler actually getting quite a bit of offense in, but unfortunately falling victim to the Deep Six. And then Baron Corbin immediately went into introducing Finn's opponents. He set up Finn for a handicap match against both Jinder Mahal and Kevin Owens. This was approved by Stephanie, and Kurt decided before the match started, he's like, well, I can't cancel the match, but I can add to it because I am the general manager. So he decided to give Finn a partner and allowed him to team with the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman, in which Finn and Strowman did defeat Jinder and Owens. Strowman just running roughshod on everybody, hitting a power slam on Jinder, picking up the win. Strowman ends up chasing Owens to the back. And that allows Corbin to hit the end of days on Finn Balor. So good setup to both of those singles matches coming up this Sunday as well. I did enjoy that. That whole segment was pretty good. Ricky Roberts, being played by John Schuyler, was a Elias fanboy and also a victim of Bobby Lashley because whatever reason, Elias was there and Ricky was there and Lashley was there, and that was the thing. The B team had a little pep talk because Bo wasn't sure that him and Curtis could retain the tag team titles against both the Revival and the Deleters of Worlds. Curtis immediately squashed those thoughts and said, no, we are going to go out there, we're going to do it. Even if we can't do it, we're going to it's been the best run we could have hoped for. So kind of got their spirits up. They ended up going out, and they did, in fact, retain the tag team titles. Curtis Axel blind tagging Scott Dawson. As soon as they hit the Shatter Machine on Bray Wyatt, Curtis Axel immediately got in, grabbed Dawson, and tossed him out, allowing him to pick up the win. So, with the fact that the Revival weren't part of the decision in this, we now have a SummerSlam pre-show tag team title match between the B team and the Revival. The Leaders of Worlds kind of in a weird situation. Matt Hardy's been kind of posting some cryptic things. I don't know all the details. If you know details, post down in the comments. I'd appreciate to know. I haven't really looked into it. I don't want to pry into privacy and stuff like that. So then we had Roman Reigns talking about how he's going to beat Brock Lesnar. And then Paul Heyman came out and was all about trying to be on Roman's side. This is something that even Kevin Hawk thought was kind of going to happen, was that the way that Roman was going to be able to beat Brock Lesnar was to have Heyman on his side. And so he, Heyman goes on this whole thing like, oh, I can, all these things that I've done for Brock, I can give you his weaknesses. I'll be able to sing your praises, and then starts to speak to him on like a personal level, and like starts saying like, hey, because Roman brings up the fact that his dad taught him how to swim with sharks in this business and all that stuff, and then Heyman brings up the fact that he used to ride in a car and learn things from Roman's dad. Says something in Samoan that kind of like triggers triggers Roman, and he's like, yeah, he taught me that. He taught me this stuff. And he hands a letter or like something to Roman that kind of like Roman's looking at it. He's like, I don't know what this means. He's immediately sprayed in the eyes by pepper spray or something by Heyman, which allows Brock Lesnar to come out and completely destroy Roman Reigns. So apparently these last 3 weeks, including the whole Brock Lesnar turning on Paul Heyman, has just been a ruse, whatever you want to call it. They put 3 weeks together and made a Brock Lesnar storyline. Holy shit. Shocked the hell out of me. So that's happening. Then we had Bobby Roode and Titus Worldwide defeat the Authors and Mojo Rawley for whatever reason. Ruby Riott returned to in-ring action and defeated Sasha Banks. And then in the main event, our contract signing with Seth Rollins still not yet arrived to the building. Dolph is just he's assuming he's not having a title match on Sunday. Him and Drew cut an awesome promo talking about how they respect Seth Rollins because he is not the one who's sitting idly by. He's actually like proving himself to be the best, which makes them want to be better than him and all this stuff. And fantastic promo from both guys. Dolph says, all right, I'm going to sign this contract. We're officially going to call it a Seth Rollins forfeit. Kurt, lets him sign it and begrudgingly. And then just as it's looking said and done, Seth Rollins does in fact show up. He's even in his gear, which was a little weird to begin with. And then he said the whole thing was that he had travel issues because he was in China just a few days ago. And so the whole thing was that he had travel issues. And he goes, I haven't been completely truthful. I've kind of been here most of the day, but I did have some travel issues. It's just the travel issues weren't mine, and I wanted to make sure that Dolph signed the contract first, because I didn't think Dolph would want to show up to SummerSlam after he heard what I had to say. Because since Dolph's going to have the Scottish psychopath in his corner, and Drew gets a big old smile on his face because Dolph even called him a psychopath in their promo. He's like, well, I figured I'd have a lunatic in mine, and Dean Ambrose is back. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins taking a massive fight to both Drew and Dolph. Dean even dropping Drew with a Dirty Deeds. And yeah, it was awesome. That's all that happened on Raw. I'm going to talk about my like, love, and dislike. My like is the whole Finn and Corbin situation in a storyline that I have not cared about, except for maybe like the first couple weeks. Like the first couple weeks were fine, but then it's just gone on way too long. They have a reason for me to care. The fact that it's Baron Corbin using his power to set up a match. Like the fact that he was able to set up matches for both him and Finn. And he didn't necessarily pick a super jobber to go against. He actually, he gave Tyler Breeze an opportunity, and Tyler Breeze was actually able to do a little bit of stuff, but of course it was still to put Baron Corbin over. And then initially I thought he was going to put Finn against Braun, and when he brought out Jinder, I was like, really? This is what you're going to go with? But then he added Kevin Owens into the mix, and I was like, okay, a handicap match, and Braun can still get involved. Then Kurt came out and added Braun to the match, so it was a good segment. It was a good whole chunk of Raw that really set up two matches. It set up more tension for two matches at SummerSlam. Very well done. I appreciated the whole segment all the way through. Jinder, man, I was going to give him more credit about his in-ring stuff, because he had some great stuff at the beginning of the match, and then he just kind of fell apart. So, I mean, Jinder, still not all that great, but a great segment all in all. my love is by far the contract signing, because I've been waiting for Dean Ambrose to come back for a long time. Man, to see him with like the shaved head is a little weird. He looks like extra jacked, like he's been lifting, like he's got like boulder shoulders going on. And it was so cool. Like I loved the build up to it. The crowd was getting into it. Crowd was like, they've kind of been setting the fact that Seth's been going against both Drew and Dolph. It's been kind of setting up. Okay, we keep putting Roman in this situation, but why Roman? Like, where's Dean? Dean's hurt. So the fact that Roman won't be able to do that because he's going to have his match with Brock on Sunday, it just added this kind of air. And as he just built it up, then finally when that music hit, the crowd lost its mind. Greensboro, North Carolina, you guys were a fantastic crowd. You guys were losing your shit. It was great. So it just added to the whole situation. I'm super excited to see another match between Dolph and Seth. The fact that Dean is going to be the opposition for Drew McIntyre on the outside is super fun. And even if Seth doesn't win the title, now we know that whomever the Raw Tag Team Champions are after SummerSlam, whether it's the Revival or whether it's the B Team, now have the Shield to contend with. And good luck. I'm just really glad to see Dean back. My dislike, there's a lot of stuff I didn't really care about, which is why I'm not going to talk about it. My dislike is the fact that there are 2 title matches on the pre-show for SummerSlam. This might even be my dislike for the SummerSlam review. You'll have to find out next Monday. But first off, the tag team titles. Not sure why the tag team titles are on the pre-show. You have matches like Finn versus Corbin, which is just a singles match that does absolutely nothing for either guy. That could be a pre-show match. Honestly, Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens could probably be a pre-show match, because it's just a singles match for the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's a briefcase. It's not even a belt. If you put Braun on the pre-show, you probably get people into the building faster. It's one of those things. It's like this doesn't. The tag team titles shouldn't be on the pre-show, especially when. I don't know what the biggest difference is between Revival versus B Team and Bludgeon Brothers versus New Day. People really like B Team. People really like the New Day. People don't really like the Bludgeon Brothers, but they're good heels, and people are, there are some people that really care about the Revival. Some people that don't give a shit. But that's I don't understand the difference. I don't know why that's on the pre-show. But my biggest gripe is the fact that the Cruiserweight Championship has once again been moved to the fucking pre-show. This is a singles title for one specific brand, and you are putting it on the pre-show. You put it on the pre-show of WrestleMania. Now you're putting it on the pre-show of SummerSlam. You're trying to build this brand up, and it's having fantastic matches. But how many people are actually tuning in and watching the pre-show and caring about those matches? Why would you put title matches in the pre-show when people are just like, well, it's another 2 hours added on to a 4 hour, it's a 6-hour thing altogether. That's way too much already. And you're putting 2 important matches on the pre-show. Whatever. I'm probably going to complain about it more on the review for SummerSlam. Especially because I know that Drew Gulak versus Cedric Alexander and probably B Team versus Revival are going to be better than a handful of matches that are on the show itself. But with that being said, this has been my Raw review. Thanks for watching, guys. You know the drill. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below what you liked, loved, and disliked about this week's Monday Night Raw. Are you excited? Did it make you excited for SummerSlam? Did it make you less excited? Let us know. We like talking to people. We appreciate all the comments that have been coming in. Check out all of our social media links. Post on our Facebook page. We post a lot of things over there. Let us know what you'd like to see on this channel. You can also get this review and all of our regular reviews in podcast form. That's at the SoundCloud link. And we also want to know what you want to see over on Reasonable Wrestling Fans. It's Reasonable with a W, like wrestling, where we have the list with Kevin Hawk. He's his first episode. He counted down his top 10 favorite WrestleMania matches. We have Question of the Week with Thomas Wolfe. He asked me and Kevin questions, and we give them answers. There's some other videos that we're looking to do. We like to know what types of videos you'd like to see. But there's also unboxing videos where you see us unbox Pro Wrestling Crate every single month. And there's also punishment videos and other videos that are loosely based around wrestling. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch next. They were in the same match. The match wasn't that great. Fuck Modus. Fuck Modus. Fuck Modus.